Hey there, my name is Andrew Dobbins. I'm the owner of Intelligent Design Air Conditioning and Heating. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for having us out, and I wanted to give you a little bit about what we're going to be going over with you when you get your air conditioning estimate. So when we come, we're going to start at the kitchen table and just go through some educational things, find out what's important to you, your home, and your family. And then we're going to do a little bit of teaching on what really is SEER, what is tonnage, and then what all the third-party experts like the Department of Energy, Energy Star, Consumer Reports, and actually the air conditioning manufacturers, what they say you should be looking for in a new system, and in the contractor, what we should be doing. And as we go through this, you're going to see what's supposed to be done and then what we do through the process. So once we go over those things with you, then we'll go to your home, look around. If you have an attic, we'll get in the attic, we'll look at the equipment, and we'll just go through with a fine-tooth comb to find out everything that's going on, so that if you select us to do the job, you're going to know everything we're going to do, we're going to know everything we need to do for the system, and then you can select your system and price. Thank you so much. One of the things that's going to be really important as we go through everything with you is this page. Let me share it with you. So where your home comfort is concerned, there's a number of different design options and key factors to consider. We do a home comfort survey. That's a step-by-step process that ensures that we don't miss anything that might be important to you, your home, and your family. As a homeowner, your active participation in this process will ensure your ability to make an informed decision regarding all the conditions of your home and all the comfort solutions available. So this just means that we need your active participation in the process so that you can choose what system is best for you and you know all of what's going on. So when the home comfort survey is done, your investment, peace of mind, and complete satisfaction are fully guaranteed in writing. The next page here is just a screenshot of our website. We have a widget here that collects the reviews from around the web. This might actually be one of the reasons you selected to call us. We are the #1 rated air conditioning and heating contractor in Southern Arizona, and we have over 22,000 5-star reviews across the internet that this widget collects. So you can take a look and see how customers are talking about us. One of the things you'll be choosing for your home and your air conditioner is the SEER. That quite simply is just the efficiency. It's kind of like the miles per gallon of the system. Now what's different than miles per gallon in a car is when the car leaves the factory, it's 100% done. Tires are blown up, there's no holes in the gas tank, everything is set. But the air conditioner, you have all of these different components, and then the ductwork and the sizing and the refrigerant charge. And so what I find a lot of times is if it were a car, people are purchasing the nice hybrid, really fuel efficient car, and if it were an air conditioner, it could be driving around on flat tires. So we don't want that. It would be better to buy the low-end non-hybrid car and blow the tires up, be more efficient and last longer than a car that is the best in the world driven around on flat tires with a hole in the gas tank. And so when air conditioners are tested, they're actually tested in a laboratory with no ductwork. And so if the ductwork isn't right, if you have a lot of heat gain or there are leaks, it is absolutely critical to the operation of the system. In fact, if you undersize the ductwork on the supply or the return side, you can break your unit in a very short amount of time, and it would be caused by the ductwork. So it's important for the estimator to go and analyze all of that and make sure that's right. So when we come out, we test the ductwork to see if it leaks. We look at it to make sure the sizing is right, and that way, whatever system you purchase, you're getting the efficiency it was designed for. Just to give you an idea on how bad it is in Arizona, because 90% of air conditioners are installed wrong, the ductwork is actually a huge part of that, and they say the average house loses 30 to 40% of the efficiency just from leaking ductwork. And so we really need to test that, make sure it's right before we move forward. Next, we're going to talk about the term tonnage. So tonnage is the capacity of the system. And I know you're thinking, wait, a ton is 2,000 pounds. That doesn't make any sense. What's going on there? Why are they calling it tonnage? Well, similar to why they call it horsepower in a car. When cars were invented, they're pulling buggies, and that's the only thing they had to equate it to. When air conditioning was invented, they were cooling buildings off with blocks of ice, and they equated it to the weight of the block of ice. As you can imagine, that doesn't really work too well in Arizona. Ice would melt too fast. And so they were doing it with an outside temperature in areas that were about 95 degrees, only cooling to 80 degrees. So here, where we get up to 110 plus, and most people want their houses in the neighborhood of 75, those numbers don't work anymore. So the amount of heat that can be removed in other climates is not the amount of heat that can be removed by the system here. So the hotter it gets outside, the more the capacity of the systems drop. And the second challenge that we have is that the manufacturers are allowed a variance on the amount of heat. There's actually a 20% swing around what the government says needs to happen, and they're allowed to be all within that range of 20% at 95 degrees. The sooner you get up to a higher temperatures, the more the difference spreads between brands. And so if a contractor doesn't do something called a heat load calculation, the likelihood of them getting the size wrong is about 75% according to all the studies. So most consumers think that you size based on the square footage of the home. Or some people even say cubic volume, when in reality you size the AC based on how much heat is coming into the home. If I took the square footage of your home, the same cubic volume, and put it underground, the volume didn't change, but the amount of heat coming in is drastically less. Just the same, if I change your windows from single pane to triple pane, or I put overhangs in, or took them off, or added skylights, drastically changing the amount of heat coming into the house without changing the square footage or cubic volume. So we've got to measure all that stuff to make sure that we know how much heat's coming in, how much we need to absorb and throw back outside faster than it can come in to keep you comfy. So there are 5 costs in owning an air conditioning system. You know, there's cost to owning a house, there's cost to owning an AC system, and what you're deciding on when you have someone out to replace the system is just the initial investment. That initial investment is going to determine all of the other costs. And the other costs can add up to way more than the initial investment, especially if you choose something that's wrong and you're going to be in the home long term. So what we typically recommend is if you're going to be in the home short term, we just go with one of the really low cost solutions because all of the long-term ramifications of that don't matter because you're moving. But if you're going to be in the home long term, now we need to consider all of the other costs. And so the number one cost in the life of owning an air conditioner is not the initial investment, it's actually doing it again. And what a lot of people don't know, especially if they have a 20 or 30-year-old air conditioner, is that the average life of air conditioners these days is 11 years. Now that doesn't mean your system would only live 11 years. Some die at 6, others die at 15 or 16, but the average is 11. And so what's bad about that is that inflation makes it to where the next system is twice as much as what you're looking at investing today. And so if you're staying in the home long term, you really want to consider long-term warranties. We have a lot of systems that have 99-year warranties on the compressor and the heat exchanger, where if that part breaks, the entire condensing unit or furnace is replaced at no charge by the manufacturer. So that's something that could mitigate or avoid having to buy a new system, because most people replace the system due to a really expensive repair and they're not going to put that money into an old system. Well, in this case, you wouldn't have to replace it, the manufacturer would. So that's something to consider if you're going to be in the home long term. The next thing to consider is utility bills. The electric company has been raising the prices pretty rapidly in the last few years. In our area, it's gone up 43% in 4 years, which is astounding compared to what it's been historically. So we're just in a period of increasing costs on everything. Our food is going up, our gas is going up, and our electric bills are going up. So if we get a really efficient system now, then we can mitigate that cost down the road and save you a lot of money. And the last thing that really surprises a lot of people is that repair costs have gone up. If you had one of the systems from 20 or 30 years ago, you probably had barely any repairs on it. And that was amazing for that time. But systems are getting less reliable and they're breaking more, which means that repair costs are going up, the cost of operating the air conditioning business is going up, and then the consumer is charged for that. So having a labor warranty saves an incredible amount of money. So I would ask your project manager what labor warranty options there are. You don't have to get an extended labor warranty, but it's something that can save an incredible amount of money for the upfront investment. So as you determine for your family what the right initial investment is, these are the 3 main decisions that you're going to be making on the initial investment. We've got the efficiency and functionality of the system. You've got the brand quality and warranty, and the company that's doing the work and what you choose to have done. Like if we identify that your intake ducts are too small, are we going to increase them? Or are we going to seal the ductwork? Are you going to get any additional things for air quality to take care of dust and allergens or other pollutants in the home? So all of those things are installation, and you get to choose all of that. What Consumer Reports says is that installation is 65% of the quality that you're going to receive. And then 90% of installs in Arizona are done wrong. So it's really critical to choose correctly on who you're going to use, make sure that they align with what, let's say, the Department of Energy or Energy Star even the manufacturers, they say exactly what to look for in a contractor. It's important to have your choice align with that. Otherwise, you can get a really nice system and have it breaking all the time on you. So now I'm just going to talk really quick about these third-party experts. I printed out right from their website so that you can see what's going on. And they're talking about sizing heating and cooling systems. Department of Energy says the most common sizing mistake is actually oversizing, which if you have a car and you think, hey, I'm gonna get more horsepower, that's kind of fun. But if you are dealing with an air conditioner, it's one of the worst things you can do. Here's what they say about it. They say that it will operate inefficiently, break down more often, cost more to operate, can add humidity into the home and have a cold, clammy feeling and lead to mold issues. So a lot of really bad things. Also, it can lead to hot and cold pockets from room to room because it's turning on and off so quickly that the rooms that are being hit by the sun aren't able to cool off properly, and you can't scoop the heat from those rooms, bring it back around to the system properly because it's short cycling. And whenever you turn motors on and off, they break a lot and they cost more to operate because it's a huge energy surge when you turn it on. So here's how the Department of Energy says to size. Actually, here's what they say not to do. They say don't ever go with a contractor who just goes off the nameplate of the old system, and don't ever go with a contractor who goes off the square footage of the home. Part of the reason is that people change their homes over time, and it may not be the same efficiency on the house and the insulation in the windows as when the last system was put in. And the other thing is we don't know if the last guy did it right in the first place. So what is supposed to be done is you measure the size, shape, and orientation of the house, the insulation levels, the window area, location, type, screens and overhangs, the leakiness of the home and the ductwork, and the amount of people and your temperature preferences. They say don't ever go with a contractor who's not doing these things. And so as you have estimates out, it's important to look to see if they're doing that. And one of the ways that you can tell is if they do the infiltration test. That's the leakiness of the house. That test is done. They tell you right here under steps a good contractor will take to size your system. That step is called a blower door test. They say right there that that should be done when you're getting an estimate for a new system. So if you don't see that, chances are they're not abiding by the Department of Energy guidelines. Next, we have Energy Star. So Energy Star says these are the 4 things you want done right in order to have a really efficient system. They are in alignment with the Department of Energy as far as the sizing. They say if the ductwork leaks, you need to seal that. If you don't seal ductwork that leaks, it can double the AC and heating portion of the bill. And then make sure the refrigerant charge is right. We come out and check on that every 6 months. And then we have optimizing the airflow. So if you, like a lot of people, have hot and cold pockets throughout the home, we can absolutely fix that. We do it all the time, but most people just think, oh, it's just because it's the sunny side of the house. It's the south or the west. Well, in reality, yes, you are getting more heat over there, but they should have designed the airflow for that and accounted for the orientation of the house. So really easy fix. We just need to figure out what's going on and then we can take care of that as well. Lastly, we have the air conditioning manufacturers. So what's funny about this is these guys are all enemies in business. They don't agree on much, but they agree on one thing. They say, I don't want my product installed by a company that is not doing this heat load calculation, a measurement of the amount of heat coming in with the infiltration. If they go by the square footage, they're going to get it wrong. And so all the major air conditioning manufacturers agree on this, and they say, for the consumer, you should not be looking at a company who's not doing this process. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch through these videos. It's going to save you a bunch of time when we come out there and we go through everything. We need about 90 minutes to meet with you and really go into the different systems and how they operate, the pricing options or monthly payment options if that's what you choose. And so it's important that we are talking to everyone that is going to have an input on which system you're getting. So we're not playing the game of telephone and having one person try to tell the next and having the message all jumbled by the end. So if you can all be there, take about 90 minutes. It is the most critical thing to your house is having a proper operating AC. And so we just want to thank you again, and we'll see you soon.